I don't know if you can hear the construction noise in the back. I'm sorry about that. Hey, I'm going to talk about this today and this. So a lot of people ask me about the sound, how I get my sound. I think a lot of it comes from this, from using these machines. You could probably do the same with plugins if you know what you're doing with compression and just saturation and EQing. You would get a certain the same effect. So this is what I have on my outputs. My MPC goes straight into the analog heat. From the analog heat, it goes into this, which is a compressor and transient shaper. Then it hits my EQ. It has a low and a high, 2 channels. And then it goes into another compressor, Heritage Audio, different type of compressor from the first one. And then it hits, after this, it hits the my analog, my audio interface. Okay, so I'm gonna show you, I have a beat running, I'm gonna show you the results, and you'll hear the difference really on, I can go from just having a beat that sounds okay to having a beat that sounds great with these machines. So the first one, as I said, out of the MPC into the analog heat. This is like the makeup. It's just great. It's just night and day. So a good way for you to think of this is, you know, see the girls when they're doing these makeup videos, they can just transform themselves. That's what this does. It really just changes my audio completely, coming from the MPC into the analog heat. Okay, so that's night and day. So after that, it goes into the Tegler. This is a compressor and a transient shaper. The thing about these two compressors is that this one just acts on the low end in a different way than this one, okay? And I really love to use this to control my kicks. If you notice my kicks, when they're coming out of the MPC, they're just wild. They're all over the place. They're super high. And there's a reason why I have that, is because I know they're going to be tamed. I know they're going to be glued together to the mix once it hits this one. Okay. One thing that I do when I'm making the beat is that I'm mixing with the outputs. I think that's the term used, mixing with the outputs, which means I have the machines already turned on and I'm mixing, I'm driving the levels of the kicks and I'm driving the levels of the snares and whatnot. Or if I just do the beat on the MPC, then I turn everything on and see how it sounds here. Then I'll change the volumes on the MPC again. So I'm mixing with the outputs, all right? So this is more part of my mixing than mastering. I wouldn't call this mastering. I would call this a part of my mix as well. Okay, so I'm mixing with these turned on and I'm listening to see what I can change back on the MPC, go back to the kicks, to the snares, to the levels of the samples, anything that I can change to make my output sound better. Okay, but yeah, definitely I love to use this on my kicks. Great for mixing, great for mastering, especially mixing. I would say this is more of a mixing tool, even though it's great for the outputs as well. I can drive this EQ as much as I want. It will not sound bad. Well, it will sound bad in a certain situation, but I can really drive it and it's just a magical EQ. I really love this one. So yeah, I'll use it to boost up the higher frequencies again, and that's what I do most of the time. I'll just drive it really hard. It will bring out harmonics that I didn't know were even there, and then I just have to work with it really nice. If I need to go back into the sampler and adjust the samples so I can make something better with this, I'll do that. So overall, I think one of the things about my beats that makes it sound so round and makes it sound so punchy is because of the compression. This one and that one is really down to that, because without this, when you hear my sound coming out of the MPC, it just feels like it's all over the place. The kick's super high, the snares somewhere else, the hi-hats are super low as well, and it just all feels like it's not even mixed. But once it reaches the compressors, everything starts to get glued together, and that's why it feels so nice, and it feels like it's in the right place because of the gluing of the compression. The way I use these things, it's not in the mastering way where you're adding final touches. No, I use these machines to drastically change my sound, to add character to my sound, to add movement. So I love to add movement with the compression, where there's that duck down feeling of the compression just going up and down. I love to do that. This one specifically on the snare and on the higher part of the beat. So I'll use that sidechain just to hit the snare a bit harder sometimes, and that will give the movement on the lower end a bit more. but they're both creating movement, and that's what I love to do. So I drastically change the audio that's coming out from the MPC with these machines to transform it into something that has a sound that I like. After this, it's pretty much done. I record my audio into Logic, and inside of Logic, I'll just use a limiter, and I'll bring up the audio as loud as possible to be ready for any platform. That was it. That was the mini tour of the studio. If you want a full tour of everything, also comment below, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Bye-bye.